She's a beauty, this flying machine.
Though you wouldn't know to look at her up close.
But the things she can do.
The planking, the plywood, the bell crank slot.
The Fox engine, mouse or blister.
Landing gear support.
The cockpit hatch line, control horn, windshield.
Every single part, each mechanism in place.
Fingers grimy from an oily engine.
Wiped clean.
Spick and span.
Snapped wiring fixed on the wing.
Weather looks mean.
Protective gear?
Leather and sheepskin and a white silk scarf.
Goggles?
Check. All set.
They say,
Rather you than me, old chap.
It's dark and grim, that city you'll see.
Propeller turning, engine chuntering, climb the steps and in.
Lurching forward, then easing along.
Picking up pace.
The wheels are up.
and we're off.
Low clouds, a bumpy takeoff.
But steadfast we go.
Lifting away.
Climbing up.
Soaring higher.
Looking back over the tail.
Top-notch gents in their tweed on the ground.
Miniature hands waving us on.
And the land grows small.
The runway thin.
Minute boxes with tiny windows.
Tops of hangars pass out of sight.
A final lift.
We're away.
Up above.
Close to the heavens.
The silence, the peace.
The wide blue sky.
High above.
Alone in the clouds.
Nothing but the freedom of flight.
Up close, she's a beast of mechanics.
This flying machine.
Canvas and wood.
Nuts and bolts.
Up close, she's a deafening drone.
But the rumble and splutter melts away.
Because up here, you're light as a feather.
Wings outstretched. Reaching through air.
Streaking across the wide blue yonder.
Gliding, bird-like.
You arise in the sky.
Above the country below.
Flying into fine mist.
Thick clouds covering the way.
A splattered windshield from drizzling rain.
Stinging one's face like 1,000 pinpricks.
Wipe it away to clear the view.
Just a tilt of the hands.
Suddenly dipping.
Catching your breath.
Leaning in and descending to swoop.
Then clouds clearing, the mist lifting.
A country of cities.
A patchwork of fields.
And at the heart of it all,
A bird's eye view of
Birmingham.
A murky world.
Smoke and chimneys.
Thick with grime.
Buildings uprising.
This city from above.
Is reaching up.
Folk on the street, looking up.
Rather you than me.
they said.
It's nothing special.
That city you'll see.
Then, gear change.
Plummeting.
Foot on the pedal.
Here we go.
All the way down. For a closer look.
At this city,
From above.
The core of it all.
A heartbeat.
A pulse.
Forging on, pressing on, no matter what they say.
heads are down.
Just getting on.
Making no bones.
Just getting on.
Turning the ignition.
Firing sparks.
Thinking.
Making.
Creating. 1,000 trades.
Ever changing.
Ever evolving.
Ever moving.
Industrious beginnings in humble workshops.
Factories. Foundries.
Printers and presses.
With miles of water at the beginning of a global export.
We've got more canals than Venice.
Don't say it!
But it's true though, innit?
And we're not sinking neither.
The core of it all.
A heartbeat.
A pulse.
The workshop of the world.
Inventions and firsts.
The first photocopier.
Measure of electrical power.
Celluloid.
The petrol car.
Pneumatic tire. X-ray.
Radar. Fingerprinting.
Tennis. Roller skate.
The bicycle bell and ref's whistle. Steam engine.
Bless old Bess.
The core of it all.
A heartbeat.
A pulse.
Building a world.
From the ground up.
That yard over there.
That workroom. That shop.
Used to be a confectioner's.
A draper's.
Poultry dealers.
Turkish baths.
Brass foundries.
Silversmiths.
A jeweller.
Antiques and pastry cooks.
Theatrical costumier.
Ladies' tailors, bootmakers.
Ironmongers, tobacconists.
Milliners and artists.
Dealers of china and dressmakers.
A visiting masseuse. You what? Everyone needs some me time.
Lockmakers,
Frame makers, cabinet makers,
Chain makers.
gun makers and pin makers,
aeroplane makers, money makers,
Thinkers, doers, bread makers,
Longbridge planters.
rover makers,
The Cadbury family.
chocolate makers,
Pizza dough rollers, Baltiges spices.
In the symphony hall, there are music makers.
and there's the bird factory, custard makers.
HB sauce. Bacon butty makers.
You can't beat a bacon butty.
Building a city.
a world.
From the ground up.
But it depends on how you look at it.
from where you watch.
What's your angle?
What do you think?
It's not pretty.
Perhaps.
It's concrete and smoke.
Perhaps.
But it builds,
It trades.
It thinks.
And it makes.
Adapts and grows.
a city of industry.
A city of genius.
It's not that we've got tickets on ourselves or anything,
But the things it has done.
In its own way.
Trying things out, doing things differently.
New ideas.
New dreams.
And always moving on.
Perhaps the sea is a little difficult to work out.
But if you read between the lines,
And look a little bit closer.
I was born in Guyana. My dad got a job at Jaguar Land Rover in Castle Bromwich, so we moved from Southampton up to Birmingham.
My family came from Jamaica. My grandmother, she decided to get a job over here.
My mum moved here from New Zealand when she was 7 because her dad got a job at Selly Oak Hospital.
My granddad came here when he was about 20 looking for work from Jamaica.
Well, my mum is originally from India. I grew up in Oldham.
I've lived in a few places, like I've lived in Dudley and I've lived in Birmingham itself. Now I live in Albury.
I was born in Sandwell.
I was born in Birmingham. My dad came from Jamaica.
I was born in Birmingham, but my parents came from China.
No, when I was about, 1 year old, I used to live in Russia with my granny and my granddad.
I was born in Solihull.
I was born in Birmingham. My mum came from Pakistan.
I was born here in Birmingham.
I was born in Birmingham.
Was born here and moved to Australia. I moved back here when I was 3. They want to move again, but I don't really want to. I prefer to live here than anywhere else, really.
If you came to be here, you would find
a blue-green cylinder rising out of the skyline.
The rotunda has stood for an age and a day.
Defining the horizon.
You couldn't miss it on a postcard.
You'd arrive and discover the bold bronze bull.
A rusted iron man, the lounging floozy.
All silent but strong.
You couldn't miss them.
You'd meet ghosts, literary gems, walking through grasses, hidden behind trees, flowing with the rivers.
Johnson.
Tolkien.
Zephaniah.
Maybe you travelled the magnificent 7 miles of steel and road. Spaghetti coiling.
And junctions crossing.
Arteries weaving their way from the heart.
And there under the concrete stilts.
Graffiti, canals and Canada geese.
Are bumping alongside each other.
Harmoniously.
It may rain and pour.
New rises might block the view.
But behind them, still lakes and reservoirs.
Like glass mirror the stars.
If you came to be here, you might find a place at the back of your street.
Where there is art on the walls.
From ceiling to floor.
Hiding away down in Selly Oak.
Quietly waiting.
Monet, Van Gogh and Renoir. Go up Soho Road and follow your nose.
Sweet, rice, any food from home.
There's a meal from all continents in as many miles.
The fearless skaters in Chamberlain Square.
The wandering pigeons of Pigeon Park.
The quiet pride of mum in the playground.
And the glee and giggle of a kid on the railings.
And the sweet brummy twang of his mate by his side.
Are you from Birmingham?
When the mickey's been taken, he just laughs it off.
The entrepreneur in her focus suit, swinging her case which could burst with new plans.
The travelling student just arrived yesterday.
Her neighbour, who came in a boat long ago.
The city welcomed his mate just last year.
To the warm-hearted hills.
The generous canals.
The buzzing streets with outstretched arms.
Swooping low. You can see it now.
If you were to look again and examine the map,
Like those golden boys, Bolton, Watt and Murdoch.
Clustering around their plans of steam engines and inner workings.
It's something wonderful.
It's a beauty, this city.
Though you might not know to look from afar.
But the things it can do.
The things it can do.
The things it can do.
Things it can do.
The 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 things it can do.